My powers have doubled.
Twice the pride. Four.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Now, here's a fanfiction that I feel would change a whole lot in the Star Wars timeline. It's a funny title, but let's try to make this a serious one versus a joking one. What if during the council meeting where Anakin tells the council that Palpatine wants to appoint him as his direct representative, Ki-Adi doesn't interject to ask about the droid attack on the Wookiees? This question, albeit very important, derails their train of thought. They were literally just talking about finding Grievous and sending an attack force to sweep the Outer Rim territories, as that's where he's probably hiding. If Ki-Adi didn't ask about the droid attack on the Wookiees, which caused Obi-Wan to double up and say it's a system we can't afford to lose, then I believe Yoda would have ordered for Obi-Wan to go to fight Grievous while he stayed at the Jedi Temple for a little longer and meditated on the present moment. During the prequels, there was a massive shroud of dark side clouding their judgments, and this can be theorized by Palpatine's doing, or the massive Sith temple that was built thousands of years prior under the current Jedi Temple. If Yoda sent Obi-Wan to fight Grievous, then everything would have happened the way it did in the timeline, with one exception. Yoda would remain at the Jedi Temple, where Palpatine reveals to Anakin that he's the Sith Lord. Anakin would never run to Mace Windu first. He would go to Master Yoda and explain to him exactly what he told Mace. Finding him in his meditation quarters, thinking deeply on his next mission, Anakin reveals Palpatine's identity to Yoda.
Sure of this, you are, young Skywalker.
Yes, Master Yoda, says Anakin. Yoda would close his eyes and shake his head.
Our fears, this was.
While Yoda would call for the other Jedi Masters still in the temple to his meditation chamber, he would question Anakin on his feelings. Now, Yoda's intuition was stronger than Mace's. He knew what Skywalker was thinking.
Doubt I sense in you. What doubt have you?
Anakin would pause to tell Yoda everything, but he couldn't do it.
Much doubt I sense in you, young Skywalker. Come with us, you will.
Now, here's where we have two options, and I'll release the alternate ending in another video. Now, I feel Yoda was different from Mace's testing methods, whereas Mace wanted to test Anakin by seeing if he's obedient and keeping him in the council chambers until they returned. Yoda would have him to be face to face with his biggest temptations and emotional weaknesses. He'd watch Anakin's choices at the height of their vulnerability. As Mace, Agen, Kit Fisto, and Saeseeeeee walk through the door, Yoda grabs his walking stick, and they all leave to the Chancellor's office. Arriving, Palpatine would play it differently now that Anakin was there, and the fact that Yoda came too was definitely a big game changer. He would start to play the victim, just like he did when Anakin showed up against Mace.
I told you it would come to this, Anakin. The Jedi planned to take me away and control the Senate.
The Jedi would all ignite their lightsabers except for Anakin, as he was very confused. As they approached the Chancellor with handcuffs, Palpatine began to almost kneel on the floor in mercy, raising his hands as the Jedi approached, only to quickly fire two powerful bolts of lightning at Agen, and Saeseeeeee, straight to their temples, killing them instantly. The lightning was far too fast for them to block or anticipate. Palpatine was a master of hiding his intentions and powers. Moving so fast, Anakin only saw a red blur. Palpatine ignited his saber while he moved outside of Kit Fisto to behead him, facing Mace and Yoda. Pushing a massive force push to little Yoda, getting him out of the way, he advanced on Mace, moving like blurs of red and purple. As Yoda jumps back into the fight, Sidious was becoming overpowered. He was fast, but not fast enough for Mace and Yoda at the same time. Extending his hand quickly in between strikes, he summoned Skywalker's lightsaber, now wielding his red and Anakin's blue. The fight continues, even faster now, 4 lightsabers, each of different color, clashing throughout. Eventually, Sidious is bested by the 2 Jedi Masters. It is Mace and Yoda after all. Falling to the floor by the window, I said, by the window, he starts to plead for his life, asking Anakin for help, that if they kill him, he won't be able to save the one he loves. Anakin walks up to him and tells Master Windu and Yoda that he must stand trial, where Windu tells him that he has control of the Senate and the courts, preparing to kill him. This was when Yoda turns to his Padawan and tells him to calm his anger, to not let Vapad control him, rather to control Vapad, which was the fighting style Mace used, harnessing the opponent's dark side energy to his benefit. Mace silences. Yoda tells Anakin to cuff Palpatine's hands and feet. Now that they weren't going to kill him, Anakin knew he would still speak with Palpatine again, and now the Chancellor would be more at Anakin's service to tell him what he wants to know, as he'd be the only Jedi friend that he had left, or rather, somewhat. Palpatine would stand trial, and it would be very complicated. While 3 Jedi were killed by Sidious, being a Sith Lord wasn't a crime really, and he was just trying to defend himself. However, all the Jedi had to do was to prove Palpatine was the one who planned the assassinations on Padme, and the one behind the Separatist army. Then they'd have a case. They'd also have to prove that he trained Count Dooku, the Separatist leader. And to that political mess, well, I say...
Oh no, I'm not brave enough for politics.
But I kind of think this is how things would have played out with Ki-Adi not asking about the droid attack on the Wookiees, derailing the conversation, or putting focus on something else. Once Palpatine was arrested, I think then Yoda would have gone to Kashyyyk and helped the Wookiees out. Now, without Palpatine, of course, the Separatist army would pretty much have fallen anyways, so it doesn't really matter. Now, we can make many more versions of this where Palpatine executes Order 66, or he waits for Skywalker to speak with him, or some other version of the story you'd like to take a turn on. Either way, let me know, and I will see you all in the next episode of Star Wars Theory. I still have some more fan fictions and part 2s that I have to finish up for you guys. It's been like over 2 years now. I gotta get on that. Sorry. Until then, remember,
The Force will be with you always.
Now, fulfill your destiny.